Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not hit that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, if you're feeling extra cheeky of course. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from our very own subreddit, r/Mark Narrations from Naive Trash 4833. If you want to share your own stories, please feel free to do so over on there. Always more than welcome. And this story is titled, My Girlfriend Wants a Baby, But I Don't. And we're 2 weeks away from moving in together. Me, 28 female, and my girlfriend, 26 female, have been together for 3 years and are moving in together. I have a part-time job in an online business, but I'm trying to pick up from the ground while my girlfriend works at a preschool. So you can imagine we're barely meeting the mark in living costs alone, hence me moving in with her since she has lower rent. We've had talks about our wants in life, what career, dream trips, and family type. I've made it clear that I'm child-free due to my upbringing of parentification. Basically, I'm already tired and done with child raising. She agreed as her job was enough when it came to childcare. This was a year ago. While I was bringing in the last boxes for the day, I get a text from her that she wanted to talk about something important. I figured it was about the stuff I was bringing in. I had more boxes back at my place and followed her into her bedroom. She sat me down and told me if I ever thought about marrying her one day. I admit I wasn't sure yet since we're barely moving in together and we needed to get to know each other on this level first before making a big commitment like that. Heard plenty of horror stories of couples getting married before moving in and grew to hate each other. I still loved her, but wanted to know everything with each step. She understood and brought up the reason why she was asking this. She wants to have kids, after all. I was surprised to hear this. The preschool she works at is closer to my current place, so she'd swing by to decompress from it. She would tell me how exhausted and stressed she was from the kids and would even nap for hours before either staying the night or leaving back to her place after dinner. So I was very confused and asked what changed her mind. And she tells me whenever she helps the kids with their projects or they gift her drawings and bracelets, it makes her really happy. She even feels jealous towards these same kids giving their bigger projects to their parents and wanted that too. She would picture us picking our kid from school and it would make her excited for the future. After hearing this, I had to remind her that that's not possible since I'm child-free. And she says, still, don't you feel like we could be doing more with our lives though? Wouldn't it be nice to have a mini me or a mini you running around? No offense to parents and guardians here, but the idea of that made me cringe. I dealt with enough of my own siblings growing and all I remember is being exhausted, stressed, and too young to be taking care of 4 younger kids while I was barely getting out of elementary school. We got into a bit of an argument with her saying I was keeping her away from motherhood. While I told her we made it clear with each other that we wanted to be child-free. So springing this on me all of a sudden as I'm moving in feels like a lot. We were going in circles with neither of us budging until she threw in the towel, telling me to sleep on the couch. Admittedly, this made me mad, and I left the apartment entirely to sleep back at my place. I have 2 weeks left to move out, but I was so mad I was considering if I could cancel the move out with my landlord. I know just the thought alone is petty of me, but if having a kid is what she wants and I don't, then it was becoming obvious we were going to no longer be a good fit for each other. Either outcome, one of us would possibly grow to hate the other. I love her like crazy. I even admit the idea of marrying her did cross my mind many times, but I'm trying to stay reasonable here with what we both want. She wants me and a family with kids, but I just want her and maybe a pet. Right now I'm just sitting here on my mattress on the floor, and we're gonna need to talk about this, especially with a third of my stuff now sitting at her place. What can I do about all of this? Edit. I feel I need to clarify this. We're both mid-20 females, so it's not possible for me to get her pregnant, although I do appreciate the concern and warnings about intimacy regardless. Look, you know your mind and if you want children or not, and you was parentified when you was younger, and you just know for yourself you don't want children, which is, really mature self-awareness in my opinion. And I think your girlfriend, although she didn't want kids at the start, she's allowed to change her mind at the same time. However, also the timing of this all popped into my head and I thought that was absolutely awful. The moment you're mid moving in with boxes and then drops this bomb on you. And I may be being a bit over the top saying this, but that felt a bit calculated to me. But also another thing, when you didn't immediately back down and say, oh yeah, you want kids, you get the couch as punishment, somewhere you're meant to be moving into, somewhere that's meant to be your place at the same time. If I'm being brutally honest on this one, I feel like the writing is on the wall for this relationship. If she's certain on kids, you're certain you don't want kids. There is no other way around it, right? EDC says, you let her go. This issue has no compromise. The fact she thought you'd outgrow being child-free tells you everything you need to know. Tell her you have reached an unresolvable conflict and need to end the relationship. Opie replied saying that comment was really something I didn't expect. I never would have expected her to outgrow her child-free mindset, especially with how exhausted she'd be after work and childcare. Even so, the idea of letting her go hurts, but you have a point. Sam SG1 says, I'm so sorry, but this is a completely non-compromisable thing. One of you will resent the other forever. She isn't the one, and it's fantastic you found out now before moving in together and becoming even more tangled. I just broke up with my boyfriend over religious incompatibility. I thought we could respect each other mutually, but the more we talked about it, the more we could see it wouldn't work over a lifetime. I'm devastated, and I'm so sad you're going through this pain too. Positive says she's allowed to change her mind and you're allowed to stick to your guns. One of the shitty things about adulthood is realizing that sometimes everything else can be in alignment, but if one or two big important things aren't, it's not going to work out. I'm a parent, and given your experience in life, I doubt you need to hear this, but nobody should bring a child into the world who doesn't want one. Doesn't make you lesser or a bad person. And one more comment from Sheila Monarch who says you're at an impasse. You're not going to talk her out of it. She's not going to talk you into it either. So who's right or wrong is completely irrelevant. Yes, she made some insulting assumptions about your child-free position. Yes, she sprung this on you under a terrible timing. All of that. She was wrong. Doesn't matter. Don't waste your breath or your time. And damn sure don't move your shit. This relationship has just expired. It'd be absolutely asinine for you to move in together. Love isn't enough and it never will be. You can and likely will love many people that you absolutely cannot and should not build a life with. This is one of those. This is the end of the road. Don't let her try to walk it back and pretend like she'd be okay without kids and she was just testing the waters. She wasn't and she wouldn't. Take the exit ramp now. If you don't, the rest of the ride will be miserable, slow torture and a lot more collateral damage to your individual lives, momentum, peace, everything. So OP did update the post and says, okay, I really don't know where to start from this. I want to thank those who commented on my last post and all the advice they have given me, and I feel I should also clarify some stuff. My girlfriend and I are both cis women, so I can't get her pregnant, meaning hypothetically if we did have kids it would be through a sperm donor or adoption. As ideal as it would be to move back with my parents during this time, they're unfortunately the type who believe my life is not fulfilled being child-free. We even had a fight over this with them begging for grandchildren since I'm the oldest, not taking into account the parentifying they put me through being the biggest reason I don't want kids. They even said me helping with my siblings could count as training to be a parent. Honestly, that just made me more upset. I know people change their minds and are sometimes happier for it, but others that did so are more miserable for it, and I know I'll be the second type. Don't get me wrong. I love my siblings and would do anything for them, but it doesn't take away that I spent what should have been my own childhood building up theirs. I've done my share of parenting already, too much of it, and I refuse to go back. As for my girlfriend, now ex, building up a fantasy of parenthood, that seems to be the case. But there was another that I really hoped wasn't true. So, next morning, I get a text from her, asking if I can come back and we have a talk about our fight. I was hoping with the cool down time we'd be more civil with the discussion. But just in case I called my brothers 24 male and 21 male and asked them for help and to be on standby. Despite the rough life I had to endure, at least my siblings recognized it was me raising them and our parents taking most of the credit, so they're always at the ready to help me when I needed it. I rarely asked for any, so my brothers were quick to show up and I felt really desperate. I feel like I should give placeholder names here, so my brothers will be Tom 24 and Jerry 21 and girlfriend Sarah. So Tom and Jerry come over, and I tell them I have to have a serious talk with Sarah. And if things go south, I'll need them with the moving van close by to get my stuff back. I left an email to landlord about the moving situation, hoping I can cancel the moving date. But if it doesn't work out, then Tom agreed to help me get a storage lot for my stuff and have me stay at his place until I can get a new place. So a backup plan is covered. I went to Sarah's and she was puffy-eyed and red, hugging and apologizing to me for being upset with me, and we started talking. To the commenters who threw in the idea that she may already be pregnant and cheated, I hate how right you were. She found out a week ago and was telling me how scared she was to be carrying a child and not knowing what to do. But the thought of being a parent brought her so much joy, and she wanted to share that joy with me. She started hamming up a fantasy about us being a great team with both our experiences, and I just started blanking out. Like I can see her excitedly talking, and all I hear is, she cheated, she cheated, she cheated. After what felt like I swallowed gallons of seawater, she stopped talking, held my hand, and proposed. I just about had enough. Here was the woman I love, kneeling before me in a teary-eyed smile, and I'm trying not to scream and throw up over this. This being the thing people were right about. I asked her, so you cheated on me, got pregnant, and you're expecting me to just marry you and love happily ever after with this? Guys, the look she gave me, actually shocked by what I said, made me want to leave, but I needed answers. When did she cheat? How and with who? How long did it even take for a pregnancy to happen between then and now? Sarah wouldn't answer the question. She just kept accusing me of accusing her of being unfaithful and slut-shaming her for her actions. She said she did it for us, and the pregnancy was a beautiful thing she was trying to carry out for us, as if she did us a favor. She even had the nerve to say that if I really loved her, I'd stay and raise our child together. I couldn't take it anymore. I just went into the bedroom, locked myself in there, texted my brothers to come up, and finally threw up in there while Sarah kept jiggling the doorknob. Eventually, I get the text Tom and Jerry are at the door, and I finally leave to open it with Sarah now tugging on my sweater, begging and crying to hear her out. It didn't get any better when Tom and Jerry came in and began grabbing my boxes. She tried throwing books at them, so I tried to restrain her without hurting her. The boys didn't budge or stray. They were passing the boxes all outside the hall while Sarah continued to scream and scratch at my arms under my sleeves. Eventually, she got a really bad scratch that made me let go, and she ran into the bathroom and kept screaming and crying in there. Jerry warned me that she's only doing that to keep me from leaving and hoping I could comfort her, and to just keep gathering my boxes, so he and Tom can keep getting them out. Neighbors were coming out to see the commotion, and I had to keep getting in between my brothers and them explain what was going on. And all I had on my mind was hoping none of them would call the police. Thankfully, the neighbors took our word. Or this was the one time the police took their time showing up, because we got my stuff back into the truck in about half an hour. I really hope some of you weren't right, that she didn't cheat, that I wasn't going to be baby trapped, or she'd even think she could accomplish that with me having nothing to do with it biologically. Like, what the actual fuck is my life right now? Here I thought I was safe from that kind of situation, but yoke on my face, I guess. I just don't know anymore, guys. Thank you for the warnings and the theories. Despite them all keeping me from sleeping, they kept me on edge for all the right reasons, and being an overthinker. I'm glad I was prepared for this outcome. I'm glad Tom and Jerry were there at the ready, because who knows what could have happened if I did this alone. Even Jerry brought up knowing how hesitant I was asking for help. Great moment for an "I told you so, mate." But I know they mean well. Especially Tom bringing his dog over for emergency cuddles while we wait for my landlord to get back to me. Until then, Jerry says he can stay over for a couple of days until we know what we're going to do next. So I guess the packing is in between a halt and still ongoing until my outcome is decided by my landlord. Again, thank you so much, guys. I'll be sure to update once we know what the next course of action is, but for now I just want to lay down and cry with this giant, lovable ball of fur. Takes up half the mattress. Holy moly, I certainly didn't see the cheating coming. I thought that was just going to be like one of these ones where they're incompatible and they go their separate ways in the end, but shit. Cheated, got pregnant, wait until you were literally mid-move to spring this on you, to her turning around saying, "I did it for us." Ugh, dearie me. Good on the brothers in this situation for coming in and helping at the same time. and bring in the emotional support dog as well. And certainly block her absolutely everywhere. Commander says to OP, great job getting out, and you raised your brothers right. Your ex is insane. I would get ahead of her lies because she's going to claim you agreed to have her get pregnant by some man the old-fashioned way and then raise the baby with her. She's going to tell everyone you abandoned her poor and pregnant and worried about living alone. You need to tell everyone she cheated and that you left upon finding out. You don't have to mention the pregnancy. Opie replies saying to think I'll have to take these measures. I take back everything I said about it not being possible for me to get baby trapped. I'll be so sure to do this before taking a break from my phone. Nightshade says, wow, tell anyone who comes at you that she cheated. She can't even try to claim the baby is yours. Glad your brothers have your back at least. Do not block her, mute her in case she escalates. You'll need any voicemails or messages if you need to file a report or restraining order. That's a good point, actually. Commodore says, notes. She started spam texting since it was like an hour or so after the incident that I wrote this. Like halfway through watching Wicked, and Jerry's insisting he takes my phone away for a bit so I can decompress in peace. The dog's fully laying on me now, so I feel like he also agrees. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from our own subreddit again. It was from a deleted user who simply asked, am I the arsehole for kicking my husband's friend out of our wedding? So my husband and I recently got married after dating for 2 years. He has a friend group of 5 since college, and one of them is Lana. We weren't really close friends because I'm kind of introverted and our hobbies don't really match. They all play video games together, but I don't like playing really. But we were cordial. Not gonna lie, she always seemed a little passive-aggressive with me, but I didn't pay much attention to it. My husband did tell me that he once had a little crush on her years ago, but she turned him down and that was the end of it. Now, during the wedding preparations, she insisted on becoming groomswoman since other friends of the group were groomsmen, and my husband obliged. On the day of our wedding, we had a little speech section after the main ceremony and before reception, where people were just giving speeches and having a good time. Then Lana gets up and insists on giving a speech too. She basically talks about the group and the friendship they had, how close they are with each other and know each other so well. And then she goes on to say something along the lines of, and Cassie, you better thank me for turning him down that time. I basically gave him away so you can have your soulmate. I really did not like the way she said it. It felt so passive aggressive. My husband sensed something was off and asked if I was okay. I told him I did not like what she said, and that I'm kicking her out from the reception because I won't be tolerating any passive-aggressive comments at the most important day of my life. He seemed shocked and tried to argue, but I told him that he was free to leave too if he argues. He didn't say anything later. I quietly asked the security to take her out of the venue and to do it discreetly so she doesn't make a scene. Well, after she was gone, I was relieved and the reception was amazing. We all had a great time. Later on, we found out that the security asked her to come to the parking lot and then asked her to leave. She did throw a huge tantrum calling for my husband, but then was eventually escorted out. Since then, she has openly been talking crap about me to everyone, calling me an insecure bitch who didn't let her attend such an important event of her best friend's life because of her jealousy. She's also been posting cryptic things about how some women really feel threatened so easily and stuff like that, which I know are directed at me. My husband does see my side and agree, but still says I was a bit harsh. He said Lana just likes drama, and he didn't want to provoke her and give us something to talk about. Honestly, at that point, I just wanted that one day to be about me, and didn't want any negative energy, and just wanted to enjoy it fully. But now I'm doubting myself if I really should have just let that go. My bloody word, every time we cover something like that, like I always say, I try to get into people's shoes when I'm thinking of what they must have been thinking in those moments. Like, she had to write that down. She probably stood in the mirror at one point and practiced it, maybe even ran it by someone else, and at no fucking point, someone went, hey, maybe don't make the bride's wedding about your past romantic history with the groom. It's wild. The level of self-awareness required to think that speech was appropriate is just absolutely non-existent. But she showed her whole ass. She's doubling down on this, and instead of being mortified at what she did, she's just doubling down. And husband is an issue in this as well. He should have shut this down immediately, not be all like, oh, let's keep the peace, which we see time and time again in these situations. That's absolutely wild. But Zephyr Phoenix says, not the arsehole. Wait, your husband agrees with you but excuses her behavior by saying she just likes drama. Yeah, that's some shitty behavior right there. I would think about boundaries you want to set with this friend moving forward. She clearly can't be trusted. Lily says, not the arsehole. Let me translate. Lana just likes drama and he didn't want to provoke her equals Lana gets what she wants or she throws a fit and likes to humiliate people. I know she humiliated you, my wife, but it's Lana, so it's okay. This is his problem now since he didn't deal with it beforehand, so you had to put your foot down. She knew what she said was trashy to do at a wedding. Lowe says, not the arsehole. Your husband's logic isn't logicking. He acknowledges that she likes drama, which she was having at your expense during your wedding, but you were harsh. If he isn't ready to drop her as a friend at this point, I'd be dropping him as a husband. And one more comment from Mum of the Wild, who says, not the arsehole. She definitely feels some kind of way about you. Pretty sure she'd be nasty to whomever your husband was with. He was supposed to pine for her for the rest of his life. Unless you're afraid your husband would cheat with her, I'd meet all her passive-aggressive comments with sunny obliviousness. Act like you don't even realize what she's doing. That would take the wind out of her sails. In her mind, you declared war by kicking her out of the wedding. You're giving her too much free real estate in your brain. You win the war by acting like you don't know there is a war. I do think you did way overreact to her comment. You swatted a fly with a brick instead of a fly swatter. From anyone else, that would have been a funny comment. And your husband needs to pick a side, completely. He's either Team Spouse or Team Lana. He could have shut this down at the beginning. He needs to do something now. I totally get where that comment's coming from, but I don't think it was an overreaction, for me anyway. I don't think it was an overreaction from OP, just because of the past history that they have, the passive aggressiveness that was already there. It definitely felt like she was having a little pop at OP in some kind of way. And this friend sounds a bit of a character anyway, insisting on being a groomswoman, insisting that she give a speech, and totally agree that the part where the commenter said he was supposed to pine for her for the rest of his life. And I felt, that's why I didn't feel it was an overreaction, because she's definitely being passive aggressive towards OP about it. But what are your thoughts on this one? How would you deal with that if it was you? Would you have kicked her out? Do you think OP did overreact to this? Maybe you got a different opinion at all. It's just the logic behind it, man. It's a process. This person sat by themselves and thought this shit up. Oh, man. What do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Brush my teeth up, watch my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows.